Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're so glad to welcome you as part of our community tonight. Please note that this webinar is being recorded and distributed live stream. By entering this virtual meeting room, you give your consent to be recorded and distributed by Vienna Live with Simeon Morrow and other third parties. If you wish to not be recorded, please go to the LinkedIn live video feed, the link to which I've just placed in the chat room. Tonight, our featured guests are jazz pianist Tommaso Perazzo and drummer Marcello Cardillo, whose latest trio album, Portrait of a Moment, featuring bassist Buster Williams, will be the subject of tonight's conversation. Welcome, Tommaso.
Thank you, Simeon. Hi, everybody. Thanks a lot for the invitation.
Tommaso, so tell us the story of two jazz musicians meeting far away from home.
Right. That's the way, because me and Marcello met, not actually in New York, but we met in Amsterdam almost 10 years ago, because it was 2015 when we started studying at the conservatory in the city. And since then we started just playing together. We became friends, and hang out a lot. And then when I finished the studies and I moved to New York, eventually Marcello moved as well. And since there was the pandemic in between, I had to come back to Italy. So I had to wait 1 year to finish my studies at Manhattan School of Music. Then I came back here in 2021. And eventually, we lined up in a way, and we finished together the school at Manhattan School of Music. And since then, we just collaborated more, playing a lot together. So yeah, it's funny that we never met in Italy before. So we just met, and that's the beauty of it.
Well, what attracted you to him? Was it first just because you were two Italians living in Amsterdam, or did you hear a certain way he played the drums, or what is it?
That's a good question. I mean, but yeah, being Italian, of course, away from home, it's a way to stay with the community. There was a big Italian community in Amsterdam, and it was great, actually. I had super fun years, those 4 years, it was the undergrad studies. And, there was just, with good friends, you have that good click, and connection. That's the most important thing, because then if you're friends, it becomes easier to do everything else, and play and make music together. And we had many things in common, like, for instance, Marcello grew up listening to great artists like Michel Petrucciani or Keith Jarrett, and those are also my inspirations. So I think we have a very similar taste in music, and that helps, of course, because we're on the same page in a way. Yeah.
Okay, let's have a listen to another track. This is Kind of Blues. Welcome, Marcello.
Hi, well, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Marcello, so tell us a little bit about this album, Portrait of a Moment. So this is a jazz trio, which is considered for pianists, for drummers, for double basses to be, I mean, the hardest. You guys are constantly playing. You're covering all the roles. Tell us about this album and why you and Tommaso decided to make this album.
Yeah, so the story is basically that I recorded in a studio in Brooklyn a long time ago, like a few years ago, 4 years ago. And part of the payment of my service of recording was a free day in the studio. This was a studio of a friend of mine in Brooklyn, New York. And so, next thing you know, 2 years after that, I was like, oh, we have a free day in the studio. What if we asked Buster to do a record with us? And in that period, Buster was has always been our mentor during our studies at Manhattan School of Music. Me and Tommaso went to Manhattan School of Music, and after we graduated, we kept our relationship with him, especially Tommaso, because he used to go to every bass lesson and come to bass lessons. So he was very close to Buster. I used to go there sometimes to say hi as well. So we had this relationship with him. And so when the opportunity came that I had the free studio, the free day in the studio, I was like, what if we ask Buster to record a record with us? And so I asked Tommaso, and Tommaso asked him, and he was very happy to do that. He was very happy to do that, and we were very happy that he was very happy to do that.
Oh,
So that's how the record was born, basically.
and these are your own compositions or compositions of others?
There are three compositions of Tommaso, one composition of mine, and two compositions of Busters and two composition of other people. One is a Wayne Shorter composition, and the other one is a Mulgrew Miller composition.
And okay, so and how when you guys are performing the composition of another person, do you like your own compositions the best, or how does that work on a CD, on a record?
No, I mean on this CD in particular, I mean we both we both me and Tommaso and Buster actually we all contributed compositionally to the material of the record. But for example, the other two songs that are not our own composition are Footprints by Wayne Shorter, and of course playing Footprints with Buster, who was a very close friend of Wayne Shorter, was a dream come true. So we chose specifically that tune also because it's a tune that really allows a lot of space, a lot of room for interaction and searching, and playing this tune with Buster was unbelievable. And the other tune, it was So Leo by Mulgrew Miller, and that tune is more like groovy. And of course, I mean the sound of Buster is just like it fits perfectly the vibe of that tune. So that's why we chose that.
Marcello, tell us, we're going to listen now to Alba sul Mare. Tell us what are we about to hear?
Yeah, Alba Somare is a composition of Tommaso, and of course, I'm sure if you ask him, he might have much more information about that. So maybe you wanna. Uh,
Sure. Yeah, it's a composition I wrote 5 years ago. I think during the pandemic, I was in Italy, and it just usually it takes more time for me to write songs, but I had this idea of a melody. I was kind of inspired, and I just sit on the piano in my piano in the living room, and I started writing the tune. So it was very quick, and I came up with some interesting harmony. And I just thought about naming it Alba sul Mare, which in English means sunrise on the sea, because it's like slowly starts the tune a little bit like a sun rise on the sea in a way. I tried to come up with an image, and yeah, for
Okay,
a title.
here it goes, Alba sul Mare. So tell us, Tommaso, staying with you, tell us the
Sure.
story of meeting this person, Buster Williams. So he's somewhat of a legend. Tell us how you guys met him. What was your first interaction with him?
Sure. That was one of the best part of studying at the Manhattan School of Music. The fact that the faculty is great, and in general, being in New York, means being around some legendary players like Buster. And I first met him at the school. The first time was in 2020. I was subbing for a pianist in his ensemble, but that was very briefly. I just played a couple of songs, and then in 2022, when I was doing my last year at MSM, I decided to split the lesson because I was taking piano lessons with Phil Markowitz and then Mark Carey. But I decided to take lessons with him. Even though if he's a bass player, I wanted to have a different perspective, And I was also in the ensemble he was leading at school. He had a double trio, so multiple players, multiple pianists, drummers, and bassists. And actually Marcello did the same, so we were in the ensemble. And then I was also taking private lessons. And I just liked him so much. In general, the way he teaches is very direct. He always tells what he thinks and what he thinks he may help to improve, the playing of the musicians. So especially in a world where sometimes, especially in music, I think people is complimenting a lot, and that's great. But it's great also when a player says, okay, this is not working. You have to work on this thing in order to improve, in order to go forward. So he's definitely a person very honest, but in the moment always. I spent so many hours seeing him teaching, but you cannot just get distracted because sometimes he asks me what I think, and it's just so present. That's the thing that is incredible.
And
8 hours in a row teaching, and it's there all the time. Yeah.
and Tommaso, so the double bass, it's not really a melodic instrument. It's not really a harmonic instrument. It shares rhythm with the piano, I guess. But what can a double bass teach you then about piano playing?
More in music in general, I would say he didn't tell me many specific things about the piano in a way, but he told me a lot of things about the direction of the music, the direction of a solo. For instance, Buster always says that there is a moment in the solo that you should turn the corner, meaning go somewhere. And how to about dynamics, about intros, about interaction, about listening. So more things about playing in general. And then besides the music, many things I would say in life also about how again about human perspective. He had so many experiences in his life. He's a very deep person, so being around him is very inspiring in general for me. Yeah.
Let's listen to our tune before we get to the philosophical part of the conversation. This is Christina. Well, this brings us to our philosophical part of the conversation. And the question, the dialogue is entitled The Italian Exception. Marcello, on June 2nd, 2046, the Italian Republic will celebrate its 100th anniversary. This extraordinary polity is admired and celebrated around the world for its gastronomy, fashion, architecture, music. The list goes on and on and on. Individual Italians who reside in Italy and abroad are among the most innovative and highly trained workers, as you two musicians have showed us today. However, the Italian Republic faces severe challenges in the lead up to its centennial, with depopulation, unemployment, and emigration as being the most urgent. The situation in southern Italy, where you come from, Marcello, is especially dire. According to the think tank Svimez, quote, the Italian labor market remains far from European standards, particularly in the South, marked by a large number of precarious and unprotected workers, especially young people and women, and high rates of inactivity, end quote. The three southern regions with the highest rates of quote unquote non-work are Sicily at 38% of the population, Campania and Calabria both at 36.8% of the population. What is your experience as a musician in Italy? Is there anything musicians can do to help take on the challenges facing the Italian Republic?
Yeah, thanks for the question. You're right. Unfortunately, it's a challenging situation, as you said. To your question, how so I don't both me and Tommaso don't live in Italy uh, for 10 years now. So we're not really so much, uh, you know, involved in the Italian scene. Uh, so I would really like to ask this very same question to an Italian musician living in Italy, because he or she would know much better than me what are the challenges of being a musician in Italy at this very moment. And because I don't want to talk, on a subject that I don't really deeply know on my shoulders, I would say, personally, firsthand. But on uh, what does a musician, what can a musician do in order to fix, quote unquote, the situation? I'm not sure. I've read there is a beautiful interview by an Italian actor. He's called Massimo Troisi, that was very popular in the 80s, from Naples. And they asked him the same question: what can art or your movies do to fix the political situation? And he had a very smart answer, which is, uh, I don't want to illude myself that music has the power to change economic situation in Italy, or political, or, there has to be a significant change in the political aspect of it, in the economical aspect of it. And I'm sure music has a big impact on the cultural aspect of a country, for sure. But I wouldn't give the musician the responsibility to do that, to change the reality, unless they want to take that responsibility. And in part, I'm not gonna lie, I do want to take the responsibility, in my artistry. So I try for the future to be very aware of how my art can communicate certain things, certain disadvantages, and certain messages that can impact the society. But from this point to have a significant change, it's a long it's a long journey. It's a long journey. Um, and I would like to actually I would like to hear much more music, or even pop music, which is more impactful in the society, to have more political meaning, more political content, more uh, cultural, societal content, in the words, in the lyrics, in the message. So that's my hope.
Tommaso, over to you. You live next to Milan in the wealthiest area of Italy. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, even though, for instance, especially in the north, I'm from Genova, which is a beautiful city, but now in Italy we have this big problem that not so many people is making, not enough kids in a way. So the country is becoming very old, and that's a big problem, obviously, for the future. So there should be more balance, obviously, and people is worried about, how to, if you have a bigger family, then it's difficult because the country is not very good in economics so far. So I agree with what Marcello said, and so we have this similar problems in the part of Italy where I live, and I think that artists should just focus on making their art, and art is very important for the soul and for the mental health. Like if you go to a nice concert and you're inspired by it, then I think you deliver the message to the people. I heard Christian McBride, great bass player, saying that musicians are like healers, healing people, in a way. And so music can be very important, but I wish it has more power towards the, politic environment and thing. But I think, I don't know, it's a very interesting question. And I'm still thinking a lot about it. But in a way, yeah, especially now that we live in a period where we have so many tensions in the world, it's hard to believe that, musicians have the power to change things. So I think it regards a bigger thing in a way, but yeah.
Are there any questions? Are there any comments? Would anyone like to jump in? Okay.
Yeah, so just
Yes.
to press, I didn't mean, I hope I was clear on, I didn't mean that musicians should just focus on their music regardless of the society content, the political content. Actually, I said exactly the opposite, that it is not a responsibility to be given to the musician to do so, but it's a responsibility that the musician should or could, if he choose or she choose so to do so, take on. So that just just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, let's listen to our last track of the evening. This is Soul Leo. Final question of the evening, first to Marcello and then to Tommaso. What do you wish everyone, all of us who listen to this album, even in 2046, the centenary of the Italian Republic?
Uh, I hope they enjoy the music as much as we enjoyed making it, and that's what I hope for this specific album. Yes.
We have some applause. Our participants are applauding. I think your wish has already come true. Tommaso,
Same thing, you know. I hope they enjoy the record. Maybe have a good glass of wine, maybe Italian wine, so it's more fit to it. Why not? So you support the Italian economy. No, but yeah, just enjoy the record. Maybe find out about some nice tunes like this one we were listening is from Mike Miller. Not so many people know this great pianist, and I hope, you know, maybe people can check him out as well and just be inspired by it.
Dr. Davids, you've got a comment?
Yeah, thank you very much to both of you. It was very nice. The music was really relaxing, and keep up the good work. I would like to point out to everybody here on the screen that we should really wish Sim happy birthday for tomorrow. Sim.
Happy birthday for tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Davis. Thank you. So let's see how we can stay in touch. Here is their website. Tommaso's website is easy enough, tommasoperazzo.com. And we can
2M, 1S.
and we 2M's, 1S, and we can eventually buy the recording from this website, Tommaso, or how can we get this recording?
Yeah, me and Marcello got the first physical copies at home, so
got it.
We got it, but there is not a pre-order link yet, but it's gonna be. I talked with the label, and they're gonna send it to me very soon. So if you just stay in touch, then I will put, you know, the link on my website, and also there is Marcello website that you can access.
Yeah, which, by the way, I just fixed the problem, so you can.
Okay.
You can, yeah. If you type exactly, there you go. That's my website.
Perfect. And so Marcello's website is also easy enough. It's marcellocardillo.com. And so we can, Marcello, we can reach out to you if we have any questions under contact.
Yes, absolutely, right? Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yes. I have my email and everything.
Perfect. And same thing to you, Tommaso. We just reach out to you under contacts. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So that's tommasoperazzo.com, and it is marcellocardillo.com. Thank you so very much to Marcello Cardillo and to Tommaso Perazzo.
Good job.
Thank you
so
Simeon.
Much, Simeon.
Thank you.
Much, and thank you everybody for listening.
So,
exactly. Thank you.
So let's take a look at Vienna Live's website, simeonmoro.com. You can find all information about upcoming shows. And while you're at it, you can put in your email and then click on, yes, I want email updates from Vienna Live, and you'll get the Friday greeting from me, the thank goodness it's Friday that I send out, telling people about upcoming shows and giving my exclusive insights. Next week, we have, interestingly enough, coming up another political themed show. And this is Philip Ewell and Julio Mendívil, Musicology's White Racial Frame. Imagine you're walking down the hall of a prestigious university. Your steps betray the confidence of having earned it all, a doctorate, a high-ranking place in the Scholarly Paper Citation Index, and recently, that university's chair of musicology. As you arrive at your office door, a man runs up to you. He notifies you that a drink was spilled down the hall and needs to be cleaned up. You look at him quizzically and, unconsciously pointing out your non-whiteness, he responds, "Aren't you the janitor?" Such a situation may sound unusual, even comical, yet is a common experience among non-white academics. Musicologist Philip Ewell of Hunter College and Julio Mendívil, University of Vienna, join us to present a phenomenon of racism that doesn't stop at a non-white professor's office door. As always, all information about upcoming shows, again, may be found at www.simeonmoro.com. Again, that is Philip Ewell and Julio Mendívil, Musicology's White Racial Frame, next Wednesday. Once again, thank you so very much to Tommaso Perazzo and to Marcello Cardillo. Thank you to Vienna Live sponsors, Victoria and Frederick Mulligan. Thank you to Abby Moser, Allison Hull, Agnieszka Benrarivole, and Mary Schlesinger for their support of this show. Thanks to my cousin Mike, a marketer from Layer App. If you're an architect or an engineer, they have a really cool tool you should check out. Most of all, of course, thanks to you, our participants who make it all worthwhile. From New York City, New York, and New London, New Hampshire, goodbye, and see you next Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye.